Hi, and welcome to the weekly. This is our first episode for 2021. And I don't know about you, but me, I couldn't wait to turn the calendar to January 2021. And I think we're all thinking the same thing. You want to know something? Every month is going to get better this year. And I think we're all very much looking forward to that journey. I also got a present over the holidays. It's an octopus. So for those that watched the show last year, I had a little bit of an obsession with octopus and around a documentary on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher. If you haven't seen it, check it out. This was one of my favorite gifts of the holidays. I don't know. It is an obsession. There's a New Year's Eve hat. So happy New Year to everyone. We're now official. And hopefully everybody had a wonderful and safe holiday season. So let's kick off the new season. Our sponsor today is a podcast. It's called Life of an Architect. And there's two gentlemen on it, Bob Borson and Andrew Hawkins, that are amazing. They work really well together. You'll hear it. And they give insights to what it's like to be an architect and all the things going on in their minds. It's entertaining, it's interesting, and it's just an overall great experience. Check it out. So let's talk about our first segment of today. For our first segment of today, we talked to Steve Wiley. And Steve Wiley concentrates on pre-construction, a lot of it around multifamily, but also other projects. And why is pre-construction so important? Steve's going to highlight for us that this really allows you to do a great scope of work. It allows you to eliminate risk up front and allows you to build an amazingly tight budget. And they do it a lot by sharing plans with the owners and the developers.
Typically, we'll get some very conceptual sketches from an architect or a client. And in order to start the budget process, what we will do is we'll take those, several sketches and we'll turn them into a basic 3D model, which helps us establish a tool to develop quantities and materials and systems. And we use that to populate our budget. And we also use that as a tool to be able to explain back to the client everything that's in his budget. And we can point and say, okay, this line item right here occurs up here on the roof, and here's what it looks like.
In our next segment, Dave Barista talks to Greg Kelly. Greg is the new president and CEO of STV Inc. And Greg shares his leadership strategies going into 2021. And they're really focused on three things. Let's look for the right opportunities. Let's stick with what we do best and continue to do that. And let's make sure we're tapping into the future leaders in our company.
The other thing I think as leaders, that we've learned during setbacks like this is it's a great time to tap into your future leaders. And what I mean by that is we're faced with challenges we weren't contemplating. David, if we were sitting here a year ago and you described this moment in time in the future, if you had this crystal clear ball to say, Greg, this is where we're going, I would have thought you were crazy. I mean, I couldn't imagine it, but here we are. So now we're at this moment. It's great to look into your organization and say, where are the leaders? Who can we test in new roles? Help us solve a problem. I'll give you one example that took place in the organization during the pandemic. We were looking to reopen our offices after COVID and bring people back to work in a thoughtful way. And reached into the organization and took somebody who was used to high potential and said, we'd like you to help lead this task force for us. And she said, well, I've never done anything like this before. And I said, put your mind at ease. We've searched the world. We looked for resumes all over. couldn't find anybody that had any experience in bringing employees back to work after a pandemic. So we think you can do this. It was a lighthearted way of responding, saying we're all going to learn together.
Exactly.
But as you look at your talent base, this is a great time to put them in new roles, to stretch them. And then you can see how they adapt and how agile they are and how they can think laterally. So I think that, again, another positive aspect of coming into this kind of economic challenging time.
So that ends our segments for this week. As always, we greatly appreciate you joining us. Big shout out to Bob and Andrew at Life of an Architect podcast. Check that out. It's worth your time. And if you've missed any of our segments, you can check them out on Horizon TV or on YouTube. They're all there, and they're all broken down into individual segments. So you can take exactly and watch exactly the ones that you want. And if you'd like to see any kind of specific content on the weekly, please email me at tmancini@sgcmail.com. So thanks for joining us. Have a safe and healthy week. It's 2021, thank goodness, and looking forward to seeing you next Thursday. Thanks.